Biggest decline in the nation's life expectancy rankings.
Life expectancy has fallen.
Life expectancy dropped for a second consecutive year.
Look, I'm not going to mince my words. There's a real chance that you are not going to live as long as your parents. Current estimates place life expectancy in the West to be about 76 years of age for men and 81 years for women, but that's expected to drop by roughly 1 to 2 years over the next 5 years. Now, I understand if you're shocked and confused by hearing this from me. It goes against our most basic human instincts. I mean, who doesn't want to live as long as possible? See, for decades, Western societies have proudly marched forward with record life expectancies and triumphed over diseases once thought to be untreatable. But today, these statistics tell a very different and frightening story. A story of stagnation where life expectancy is stalling, but worse than that, in some cases, people are really dying at a younger age than their parents. For much of the 20th century, each generation enjoyed a remarkable boost in lifespan, thanks to improved sanitation, vaccinations, and medical breakthroughs. Life expectancy in many Western countries increased by an average of 2 to 3 years per decade. This progress was celebrated, rightly so, as a hallmark of modern society, a sign that our collective health and prosperity were on the rise. But fast forward to today, and the picture looks really different. Recent data from reputable sources such as the World Health Organization and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC in America, and multiple national health agencies around the world reveal that the once steady climb of life expectancy has slowed dramatically. In some high-income nations, the improvements have dwindled to less than half a year per decade, and in certain demographics, life expectancy is falling. And this slowdown isn't a minor statistical blip. It points to systemic challenges that affect us all. Challenges rooted in the everyday choices we make about what we eat, how we move, and how we handle stress. Let's start with two major contributors to this worrying trend: ultra-processed foods and the modern sedentary lifestyle. Take a look around your kitchen or your office canteen. Chances are you'll find plenty of items that come in brightly colored packages, boosting a long list of ingredients you'd rather not try to pronounce. Ultra-processed foods like ready-to-eat meals, snack bars, sugary beverages, and fast food burgers are all engineered for convenience and for taste. They're designed to be irresistible, to be addictive, and they often come at a steep price to our health. Studies published in leading journals, including the British Medical Journal and Public Health Nutrition, have linked a diet rich in ultra-processed foods with a significantly higher risk of chronic conditions. For instance, research indicates that diets high in these foods can increase the risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 40%. In many Western nations, obesity rates have risen by over 30% in the past 2 decades, a trend that is closely tied to the prevalence of calorie-dense, nutritionally poor food options. Consider the daily choice you face: the convenience of a microwave dinner versus a home-cooked meal rich in fresh vegetables and lean proteins. While the former may very well save you time, its long-term health effects can be profound. Chronic consumption of ultra-processed foods not only contributes to weight gain, but also leads to metabolic disorders, to inflammation, and a whole host of diseases that can cut life expectancy short. In our fast-paced digital age, many of us spend hours each day glued to screens, at work, during commute, and even in our leisure time. Despite the fact that our devices keep us connected, they also contribute to a lifestyle that is alarmingly inactive. Scientific research consistently shows that prolonged sitting is linked to a 20 to 30% increased risk of premature death. Even if you're diligent about hitting the gym a few times a week, long stretches of sedentary behavior can undermine those efforts. Our bodies are built for movement. They thrive on regular physical activity. When we choose to remain seated for extended periods of time, we inadvertently invite a whole host of health issues, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, and cardiovascular disease. For example, there's a story of a former work colleague of mine called Mark, a 42-year-old professional. He took pride in his weekend bike rides, yet his daily routine was dominated by long hours at his desk. Despite his occasional exercise at the weekends, Mark eventually faced a heart condition that the doctors linked to his overall lifestyle. His experience is not unique. It's a clear illustration of how even small amounts of activity cannot fully counteract the risks associated with too much sitting. Now, while ultra-processed foods and sedentary behavior are indeed significant drivers of declining life expectancy, they form only a part of a much broader and complex picture. Several additional factors intertwine to influence our overall health and longevity. You see, modern life comes with its own set of pressures. Daily stress from work deadlines to the constant influx of notifications on your smartphone can take a serious toll on our bodies. Chronic stress is more than just an emotional burden. It has measurable physiological effects. Prolonged stress triggers inflammation, compromises immune function, and heightens the risk of heart disease and stroke. Studies in publications like The Lancet have found that communities who experience high levels of stress often show correspondingly lower life expectancies. Think of stress as a silent partner in our modern life, always present, always influencing our health, even if we don't see it immediately. Over time, the cumulative effect of daily stress can indeed lead to behaviors and conditions that further compound the risk of premature aging and disease. Now, not everyone has equal access to the resources that promote a long and healthy life. Economic inequality plays a crucial role in health outcomes. In many first world countries, the gap between the haves and the have-not has widened, creating disparities in access to quality healthcare, nutritious food, and safe living conditions. Research underscores that socioeconomic status is a powerful predictor of life expectancy. Imagine two neighborhoods, one filled with parks, fresh produce markets, and high-quality medical facilities, and the other where fast food chains and discount stores dominate the landscape. The difference in the quality of life and ultimately the length of life between these two settings can be stark. And even if we make healthy choices, our environment can pose challenges. Poor air quality, exposure to industrial pollutants, and other environmental hazards have all been linked directly to respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. Regulatory agencies such as the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, have repeatedly highlighted the adverse health effects of pollutants, demonstrating that the quality of our environment is inseparable from the quality of our health. In addition, even in countries with advanced healthcare systems, there are systemic issues at play. Rising healthcare costs, a focus on treating symptoms rather than prevention, and uneven access to medical care means that many people, aren't getting the support that they need until it's far too late. The result is a health system that struggles to keep up with the rising tide of preventable diseases. Despite the challenges, though, there is some hope and some opportunities for meaningful change. Addressing these issues requires both systemic policy changes and personal responsibility. Let's explore some strategies that can help reverse the troubling trend in life expectancy. So, while systemic change is essential, individual actions also play a significant role in shaping our health outcomes. Here are some practical steps that you can take today. Shift away from ultra-processed foods and embrace a diet rich in whole, nutrient-dense ingredients. Simple changes like cooking more meals at home and choosing fresh produce can yield massive health benefits over time. Incorporate movement into your day. Look for opportunities to add more physical activity into your routine, whether it's taking the stairs instead of the lift, parking further away from the shop, or setting reminders to stand up and stretch. Every little bit of movement helps. Manage stress effectively. Develop strategies to cope with daily stress, whether it's through exercise, through meditation, or through engaging in hobbies that you love. Finding ways to unwind and recharge is crucial for maintaining both mental and physical health. And be an advocate for change. Get involved in community efforts and support policies that promote public health. whether it's participating in local health initiatives or voting for measures that improve urban planning and environmental protections. Your voice can make a real difference. Then, when it comes to policy-level interventions, we need to rethink food policies. You see, governments can play a crucial role by regulating the marketing and the composition of ultra-processed foods. They can also help to implement clearer nutritional labeling and set limits on unhealthy additives, which can help consumers make better choices. Here in Ireland, in Mexico, and in the UK, our governments have applied taxes to some products containing sugar to help dissuade people from buying these products. And if they do, the tax revenue derived will go towards further policy changes. We can also redesign our cities. We need to encourage more investment in public transport, in bike lanes, and simply make our cities and towns more walkable. It's no accident that countries like America are heavily reliant on the car while experiencing an obesity epidemic. We need to embrace urban planning, which can promote physical activity. We also need to invest in mental health. Expanding funding for mental health services is absolutely essential to address the pervasive impact of chronic stress. Integrating mental health education into schools and into workplaces can also help people develop healthy coping mechanisms. We must also bridge economic gaps. Tackling economic inequality is also critical for ensuring that all citizens have access to the resources needed for a healthy life. Policies that promote income equality, affordable housing, and accessible healthcare can help close the health gap between different socioeconomic groups. Plus, we can enhance environmental protections. Strengthening environmental regulations to reduce pollution and promote sustainable practices can have a direct impact on public health. Also, investments in green technologies and cleaner energy sources not only protect the environment, obviously, but also contribute to a healthier living environment for everyone. So the trend that we are seeing in relation to shortening life expectancies are undeniably serious, yet they also present an opportunity for transformation. Both collective policy efforts and personal choices can steer us toward a future where the promise of longevity is not compromised by our modern habit. Now, I have always been one to take matters into my own hand. Waiting for governments and the authorities to prioritize health issues in a timely fashion is often a fruitless waste of time. Indeed, it's failed government policy the world over that have led us to where we are today. So if you really want to have a longer life than your parents, it's up to you to commit to altering your diet and lifestyle for the better and maintain that improvement until the end of your days, which will hopefully be in many years to come. Well, thank you for watching this episode. If you got any value from it, please like, subscribe, and share with other people who you think might enjoy content like this. And while you're there, check out this other video up here.